And let's start with Isaiah World, Ran. I just mentioned Nevada for the 22 to 24 seasons he was in Nevada. And like a lot of these players do at this time of year, Josh Simmons did it a year ago, left San Diego State to go to Oregon, became a first-round pick. That's the path Isaiah World hopes to take as well. 6'8", 309. He's played primarily left tackle, did play a little right tackle early in his career at Nevada. I only gave 1 sack last year. And here was my sort of one-liner on him. I thought he looked thicker than 309 and shorter than 6'8", just physically. But I also thought how well balanced he played, because sometimes when you see these longish offensive tackles and they're a little top heavy, they can get over their toes when they're going against speed rushers or have struggled to anchor against bull rushers. I think he has an opportunity to do some things in Oregon. I don't think he's quite as good an athlete as Josh Connerly Jr., who was a first-round pick out of Oregon last year, but I thought he's a little bit better than Cornelius, their right tackle, who would have been a 6th-round pick of the Cowboys. Any thoughts on Isaiah Worlds and what you might be looking for a player transferring to a better competition now that he's going to go to Oregon?
Well, I had Isaiah a little bit further down on my list. I don't have it in front of me right now, but just looking at what I saw on the Nevada tape, I saw a developmental player. I like the traits. You like the size, the length, the overall athleticism, but I just felt like from a fundamentals and technique standpoint, he was a little all over the place. And so what I'm interested in seeing is him get to Oregon. And, no shade to anyone in Nevada, but you would have to think that the coaching there will be a little bit different. And he's going to play against a higher caliber player there. So now we'll really get to see where he is. I saw him as a guy probably initially I think he can play both left tackle and right tackle. And I just see him more right now as a developmental player that I'm not so sure he's quite ready to play in the NFL on Sunday. So I see him more right now coming in. If we had to start the NFL season and he was on a roster, at best he'd be your 3rd tackle. But I'm just excited to see where his development grows with those athletic traits that he has, and now moving on to Oregon and playing against a higher caliber player.
Hey, what did you think of Josh Connerly Jr. 12 months ago in terms of being a developmental player and how far he needed to go? He obviously made his way into the first round. I think he has a lot of room for growth in terms of the technical side of things, athleticism through the roof. But did you have any thoughts on him, or was he even on your radar 12 months ago?
No, he wasn't on my radar 12 months ago, at this time. But as soon as I watched the tape, it made you go back. And so I would always go back anyway and watch previous year's tape. And so I went back and watched previous year's tape at San Diego State, then loved what I saw at Ohio State. He was really, really high up for me prior to learning about the knee injury. And I try to leave guys where they're slotted and let the injury kind of, take care of itself. But he was a guy I thought really, really highly of. And then I've said it time and time again on this show, on other shows, that if he's healthy, we're looking at a top 10, top 15 pick.
Right. So the the Chiefs got what feels like a bargain in the bottom of the first round in Josh Simmons. And we talked to him at the Combine, and I asked him, why did you leave San Diego State? And he essentially said, I wanted to play against better players. No disrespect, sort of what you just said here, to SDSU. And through October, he looked pretty good. And in person, he is enormous, which checks the physical box off the top. All right, so Isaiah World tied for 5 with your guy, Conner Lew, out of Auburn. And 6'3", 300 unofficial. You can correct me if you have more accurate numbers than I do. He's only played center throughout his career. He started in 2023 as a true freshman midway through the season when the Auburn starting center got hurt. He won't turn 20 till August 2025, so 6-7 weeks from now. And I'll give you my comp, and then I'll let you take over. So prepare to be happy or sad. Zach Frazier, my guy to West Virginia, Steelers 2nd-round pick from a few years ago. He can play in zone schemes, this guy, because of athleticism, gets to the second level, does all those things. He sustains blocks. Sometimes you see these undersized quotation mark centers struggle with anchoring. I never saw that with Connor. What were your thoughts on Conner Lew? I think you like him. You put him on my radar, and he was a lot of fun for me to watch, at least.
Nah, he was fun, man. He was a ton of fun to watch. A scrappy guy. And the games I watched him against real dogs. I watched him against Georgia. I watched him against Texas A&M. And right now you see a guy, he has size, he has length. And you mentioned the lack of true bulk. And so that's the area where he's going to have to improve. But I think the thing that gave me like some peace in evaluating him was knowing that the tape that I watched was a guy that was between the ages of 17 and 19, if you went back and you watched some previous years' tape. So this is a really, really young guy. And like you said, he'll be 20 years old by the start of their season. So this time next year, if he comes out as a true junior, he's still a 20-year-old who is developing and growing into his grown man body. So I see a ton of upside there, a ton of potential. I think he's, like you talked about, his athleticism. Everything he does is under control. He's under control. You never really see him too far outside of his frame in a lot of things. And that kind of lends to his wrestling background. Wrestling is about balance and being under control. And you see that translate for him on the football field.
Were you a wrestler in high school?
I wrestled for one practice. And I was like, yep, nope, not for me.
You must have wrestled me because I only wrestled one practice too. I was like, nope, I was not. Like I just talked about our parents being in the military. My dad told me early on because he knew. He said, I don't think you're fit for the military. And he was exactly right about that. That's why I'm hosting a podcast, I suppose. All right. Oh, one thing I want to mention. So I have like an early second round grade, if we're going to put a grade on it, for Conner, even though he's incredibly young and maybe he comes back. We don't know. And I only have Isaiah World slightly ahead of him in terms of my ranking. So late first round, early second. They're about in the same range for me, but it sounds like, let's say you need a tackle and you need an interior offensive lineman. Which one are you taking first?
If I'm choosing out of these two, you give me Conner Lew. And that's just me staying true to my rankings. And, again, with Isaiah World, I could see a team because of his upside and his potential taking him, on day two, but he feels and looks like a third round pick. And I have a comp in my head, and I don't want to throw it out there right now because it'll be a recipe for disaster. But it's a player in particular that he reminds me of that you'll know the name and you'll see. So I'll hold it. And in the end, I will tell you what my initial comp was. But this year's going to prove a lot for Isaiah World, and I'm really comfortable with where Connor Lew is. And again, he's got to get stronger, and that will happen. But again, we're talking about a 19-year-old.
Right. No, that's right. And I think we need to be wary about undervaluing interior offensive linemen because my guy Zach Frazier was a second round pick and he started from day one and he's been as consistent as they come and he solved their problem on the interior. Now they have some tackle issues that they need to get guys healthy for in Pittsburgh, but if you're taking Conner Lew, I feel like you don't have to worry about the interior offensive line for a decade.